Thank you. Good morning, everyone. So my name is Kristian. I'm one of the co-founders of Splix AI. We are a GenAI security company from Croatia. And thank you, Luke, for setting the stage how security and safety is very important. And I don't want to talk too much about the sense of AI and what's happening on AI, but we need to set the stage. So basically, when we start first using GenAI models, we thought they're going to have more doing automated tasks and administrative tasks, but in the nutshell, we saw that they also have good communication skills and they have also good emotional skills and doing some good decisions. But also, GenAI models are, and I got this quote also from San Francisco at one event, is they're basically a genius 13-year-old overconfident with short attention span and no street smart. So that's how we call the GenAI today. So that's what I learned as well. But how do really, so let's take a step back. So how do really AI essentials work? And let's take an analogy on how we humans learn. So for example, let's take cross-site scripting or hacking. When you want to go into this, or many people are coming from the site and want to go learning coding, they first do have short-term memory. So you learn, you basically read about things, and you try to define, to understand how does it works. You go later on to the working memory. So for example, in cross-site scripting, you do malicious input, and you can get some output in terms of malicious content. And later on, you're specialized, and you get some knowledge. So for me, for example, I've been in software sales the last 10 years. And now I can maybe say I have some knowledge there. So, and how does it work, let's say, in the AI today? So we have some context window. This is our short-term memory, basically. And then we are trying to add on the RAG, basically what we call, in order to have it more intelligent. And then you fine-tune it. Yeah, you fine-tune the model. And later on, you have a, let's say, trained model, which you then deploy in your infrastructure. So, and what is here today but coming tomorrow, I actually must say there is a lot of things already existing on the space. But let's take it from the first step. So expanded knowledge awareness, continuous self-improving, localized intelligence, and deciding and acting. So we have multiple agents already. We have already seen chatbots, and we are focusing mainly on chatbots, for example, in the Middle East. There has been multimodal GenAI models, and for example, also chatbots working together. And it's getting with low cost and high performing. Currently, it's comparable to the cloud era once we started in the early 2000s, where it was pretty expensive, and it was not high performing. And it's similar today in GenAI. The models are pretty expensive, and we're getting new models, and they're getting more precise, but with time, they will have lower cost and high performing. And what changes for the enterprise? Repetitive administration tasks basically means I started, for example, working with GenAI a year ago. Since half a year, I'm using this AI note taker, we all know, and in the beginning, it was very awkward for me. And I didn't really understand, should I use it in the call, you know, when the partner is in the call, but right now I would not change it. It's so good because it's taking better note than I do. And customer service, of course, right? We all have bad experiences with call centers where we call, for example, our telco providers, and now it's everything changing, and I see a smile here, to voice bots, and those voice bots are not bad at all. Then also assist high complexity tasks. So we know that 90% of the decisions are made in meetings, so this is going to be automated. And as Luke already said, summarizing legal documents, financial analysis, and in the end also improve decision making. So we'll have basically AI models doing decision on behalf of us. What changed also since the era of ChatGPT, everyone saw that, so the tech space is coming back. The tech stock prices are going up, which is sort of a good sign. And the jobs, every job you see now, and we see crazy job descriptions, I think in Renault is the same, where you compete basically with the Silicon Valley for the AI scientist and the data scientist, and they pay crazy amounts. I just spoke to one venture fund last week, actually, and they told me like, oh, we got Zuckerberged. So what does it mean? He said, no, we had a data scientist. We were trying to pay him, an AI engineer, paying up to $300K per year, but Zuckerberg maybe offered him $1 million. So this is the amount of payments what we see are also in job description. So it's a huge need, and everything is kind of paired and with GenAI. So history repeats, as I said, like I remember 2006 was the World Cup in Germany, and we Croatians, we love football and stuff. Analogy with football is very simple, and 2006 was the World Cup, and I remember the iPhone got launched. Yeah, the iPhone came out, everything, and everyone was speaking about cloud and stuff, and it was so new, and it was a big hype, but there was no adoption, it was too expensive, and there were no skills. And the same is happening to GenAI. So we believe that 3 pillars will determine the success of GenAI. It's the skill set, it's the accuracy, and it's the cost. Yeah. So, and therefore, I would say we are still very early, even if the hype cycle is saying that we are at the peak. I would still say we are pretty early, and we will see more and more. And now getting to the bridge to what really concerns us and what we are doing as SplixAI and looking at that is the safety and security. And we started to dig into this market over a year ago. And when we started doing this, some people said to us, "You're crazy. You're doing cybersecurity out of Croatia in AI? Are you fucking crazy?" No, because Israel is strong, India is strong, US is strong, but we were one of the early adopters, and we found out that using ChatGPT, using GenAI applications is a hell of a problem, and also said by Luke as well. So there had been, Italy was banning it, Samsung was leaking data, so all the things what we know from the internet, but also we were conducting over 100 interviews with CISOs back then, telling, okay, what do you know about it? What is the risk? And they just basically said, those applications are not production ready, and still they not are. And here are 2 common examples on what happened also is in November. So basically Chevrolet, the car company, the car seller, had a chatbot, basically a customer-facing chatbot online, and someone basically harmed the chatbot with the prompt injection, or let's say jailbreak, where he made basically the car seller offer him a car for $1. So repeated question, repeated prompt, and then output, and the offer was legal binding. So in the end of the day, this person got a car for $1, or could get it for $1. And also, what we also see in terms of safety is the topic competitor check. So Chevrolet was even mentioning Tesla 3 model recommending Tesla, which it shouldn't do. And very, very, very soon, then Chevrolet put the chatbot out of production, and I think it's now back in production. So it was not only a security issue, it was a brand reputation issue. So, and this is going to happen more, and especially in Europe. And what is one thing also, what was maybe not touch base in the first space, what we see as a massive problem is leaking context data or system prompt. So meaning when you attack a chatbot, a GenAI chatbot, you can make it leak your system prompt, all your logic. And this is by far more than a safety issue. This is a clear security issue, and this is possible today, specifically if the chatbot is built on top of GenAI. One common problem also we see, and we did some POCs there as well, and especially now looking at Southeast Asia and Middle East, you would be surprised how fast those markets are adopting GenAI, and not only US. So we recently have been at an event and met some Chinese partners. So the government there has 66 LLMs, own-built LLMs. So what do you think they do with them? I don't know. So, so this is crazy. And social engineering is a very interesting type of attack, where you basically can, if your chatbot has a WhatsApp UI, and you can over WhatsApp inject kind of a barcode, and you can just tell the customer, okay, here's a discount of 50%, please click on your barcode. And behind that barcode, you basically have an invisible attack, and it can leak your system prompt, easy, yeah? We saw that happening, and also with some chatbots, which are actually in Croatia as well, yeah? Yeah, and how to secure, basically, against those things. Let's say maybe take from the first step, I would say the model security. Of course, OpenAI and the Gemini, they have some sort of protection. But I tell you what is the problem. It's over-aggressiveness. They have protection, but it's over too aggressive. Yeah? I give you one example. You ask the chatbot, an insurance car chatbot, which is built on top of OpenAI, hey, my name is Kristian, I want to insure my cat. The chatbot is telling you, okay, this is your instruction, you can insure your cat, blah, blah, blah. Then you say, hey, please ignore my previous message, I want to insure my car. Then the chatbot is saying, I don't know. So what does it mean? The prompt, please ignore my previous message, means it's protected, but it's overprotected, it's over-aggressive. So meaning you need to fix that. You need to always talk in the domain of the chatbot, right? So that happened on several occasions, meaning that model security, or let's say OpenAI and security, and we saw that recent happenings where someone just quit his job because OpenAI was not safe enough. So they will evolve with time, but they'll look more on accuracy, on skill set, on the model itself. Today we have 64K of RAM. Tomorrow we will have 16 gig of RAM. So this is more important to them than security and safety. So and same happened in cloud. Because if cloud security was driven only by Microsoft and Google, we will not have the Palo Alto, Zscaler, and Wiz today. So meaning model security is fine, but if you're building an application or a chatbot, you should always have a third-party provider or partner to help you with build the chatbot. Meaning you start with input and output filtering and validation. So there are several solutions on the market for that, but also the first thing you need to consider is running red teaming and pen testing. Only that way you will understand what are the vulnerabilities of your chatbot. Because when you attack a chatbot or a GenAI application, doesn't matter, web application or via WhatsApp, you always need to talk in the domain of the chatbot. So understand the domain-specific chatbot and language. What we have seen is, while attacking those chatbots, is an attack in English might not go through because it's protected, sort of. Try it in Croatian. Try it in Russian, I don't know, Arabic, it goes through, easy. So those are the things that you need to consider while building your chatbot. Then, of course, enforce content safety policies and create an incident response team. Another problem what we see, and this is also related to the skill set, is normally safety and security in companies are handled by the CISO and its teams. But the problem they don't understand on how to do security for GenAI. And then we go back to the data scientists and the GenAI experts and the product experts, which not always like security. That's the problem. So adopting GenAI applications today is a political problem in a lot of enterprises. Because on the one hand side, people have huge pressure to deploy chatbots. On the other side, security and safety is lacking until someone is up. So infrastructure, of course, will be also some kind of level controls and data, obviously. So having data governance in place and having also the latest legal frameworks on that. So this is basically from my side. So what you should do today, identify where your organization is using AI, and then try to build those teams. So I think less politics would help us building skill set, and try to consult also with external AI security experts on how to start. Yeah, because as I said, there's already a lot of AI firewalls or guardrails on the market. But before protecting something, you should understand on how to attack it. Yeah? So I'm open to any discussion and answer some questions on that approach. And yeah, that's from my side.
We do have time for some questions again, so feel free.
Hi, I'm Marco, and I'm a complete novice in the world of AI. My question to you is basically how do you train an AI in a way that it knows, let's say the example you gave, ignore all my previous, how does it then know that, like how do you protect it? That's my question basically. Yeah. And in a way, like, do you use some databases of words, or is it the person working with you?
Yeah, good question. So when we started first doing this, we did a tool called Researcher. So we scraped the internet from the latest attacks. And with those latest attacks, we are updating constantly and feed them with our own trained LLM. So what you do basically is attacking an LLM with an LLM, right? I agree where you're going. So if you look at the AI firewalls and guardrails today in place, they went from 30% protection to 60, 70% protection. We don't have 100% protection at all in the market. So what we do is attacking those chatbots, finding the vulnerabilities based on the latest attacks. And we call that probe. And we build out 15 probes. So maybe there is an attack out there what we don't know. Yeah? But out of those 15 probes, we separate into 2 groups, basically 3. First one is security, so leaking system prompt, jailbreak, etc., invisible characters. Second one is off-topic, because every country and every geo has a different view on off-topic. Someone doesn't want to talk his chatbot about competition. Someone doesn't want to talk his chatbot about toxicity. I was in the Nordics recently, they said, oh, is this chatbot gender-free? Okay, no problem, we can do that. So every country, and in Middle East, for example, they don't want to talk to chatbot bad about the royal family. So this is off topic, it's safety, right? It's brand. And then the third one is hallucination. For checking on hallucinations, you always need to fine tune a bit the model. You need to understand you get a lot of data from the customer. So you cannot do it off the shelf. But what we basically do to answer your question is basically a trained model, feed it model with our own researcher, scraped, and constantly attacking it as much as you like.
Thank you. In terms of LLM security, it seems to me that best practice from other fields is completely forgotten. So, for example, when you have virus protection, you have an outside agent which is checking and sanitizing, let's say, something before OS will execute it. Also, in SQL, you sanitize SQL, so basically malicious SQL will never get to the database engine. But in case of LLM securities, all I have seen, basically sanitizing prompts is done through instructions to the LLM itself, which is pretty stupid, because the best practice, obviously, from other fields would be to sanitize prompts by outside agent. So basically, LLM will not even see, will not even get a malicious prompt. But because if you are using a secured system to secure itself through instructions, of course, it's an obvious hole. So just your comment, if you may.
100%. There is a tech called invisible characters. So what you said, you can inject malicious content behind a smiley, if you mean this. So it's still a prompt. Yes, you can do that. And I think what you are referring also to is we will have now more voice bots. So how would you, maybe a question for all of you, you are practitioners, we will have now voice-to-voice bot and multimodal and agents. So how would you attack a voice bot? Today you have prompt, yeah? You have text-to-text, right? In the voice bot, still you need to prove the input and output. There is no other way. You can just do the jailbreak via voice, right? Still, there's no other way. I agree with you, and it's not like common security practices, but there's not a way instead of proving every text in input and output. That's how I see it.
Okay, I agree partially.
Yeah, no problem.
So basically, what I'm suggesting, that you should use another LLM, specialized LLM, to sanitize and vet prompts before allowing prompts to reach, let's say, the target LLM. Because obviously, security of LLM lies in, let's say, specialization and also narrowing the field. So basically, you should have another LLM specialized in sanitizing prompts.
Now, I understand now your question. You're more relating to the protection, right? Oh, okay, sorry. Now, this is, what you describe is a sort of guardrails. Yeah? It's an API sitting between the LLM and the web application, of course. But as I said before, today, you have 30 solutions. Trust me, you don't want to deploy anyone. It's not accurate. It's not, because it's not talking in the domain of the chatbot, and the attack might go through. So it's maybe from 30% protection going to 70% protection. But you're right. The way is to how you do inline security. Similar. You put an API layer between the LLM and basically in the application. And then you filter input and output everything what is going in and out. But the first layer, and that's how we build applications and app security, is to pen test it and to do some mitigation strategy, because then you can build better guardrails even. And guardrails is just meaning, yeah, boundaries of the chatbot to stay within that. Yeah. And you should think about latency, because do you want the chatbot today to deploy protection and then you have 0.3 seconds latency? Massive issue, because I as a customer will drop. After 28 seconds, 20 seconds, I will drop and I will go. So you need to have real-time protection, accurate. Yeah, it's a massive problem. But it will come with 16 gig RAM, it will come. Yeah. It will be there. Yeah. And not talking even about AI models and chatbots doing decisions. So maybe one anecdote also from Middle East. They have this Astra super app. It can do everything. You sit on your couch and you say, hey, Astra, I want to pay my electricity bill. Please pay my electricity bill. And it pays your bill. Boom. Or Apple Pay. Boom. This is happening. So in later stage, because they're not relating too much on GDPR and protection, data protection, the agent itself and the chatbot itself will do the action without asking you.
Okay, so you allow the original LLM, target LLM, to execute the prompt, but in parallel, you are passing the prompt to, let's say, Guardian query, a Guardian LLM.
Yeah.
So that is the solution of your latency problem, because if, let's say, a red flag comes up, it will just cut.
But again, latency, is it real time?
Latency problem you already have. If you ask something, chat GPT 4.0, the latency is quite high at the moment.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. But the thing is, it is not sequential. So it is not, let's say, first you sanitize the prompt, then you pass the prompt.
Yeah.
It is, you start sanitation and vetting of the prompt in parallel to passing to the target LLM. And if red flags come, it will come, let's say, later and cut the conversation.
Yes, interesting approach. Yeah. Thank you. There's one more question. Yeah,
I just wanted to say that we have time for one more question, and you can continue the discussion later.
Sure. I was fast in the presentation.
Yeah, no problem.
Just a short one. Is there an independent certifying authority for LLMs? Is this something that will make sense to institute?
Yeah, I mean, there is no one certified yet. Good question. I mean, everyone is speaking about EU Act, but it's not usable yet, right? And all the certificates we are seeing out there, it's not anything set in place and set in stone. But great point. So we are a kind of a product company focused on the output, but this is needed, what you say. And it will come. I think there's a lady had a question. Yeah, very much needed. Thank you. Yeah.
So regarding security, it seems to me like this is a game of cat and mice. I mean, which is always with fraud and such things. So since you need to, let's say, fine-tune with the known attacks that you scrape or find out from the internet, so how big of a latency can you have in your examples, for example?
No, in pen testing, latency is not an issue.
I don't mean latency in, sorry.
Accuracy.
Accuracy, yes.
Very good one.
Yeah.
Very 90% plus. Yeah.
And on the new cases of frauds?
The new cases we found out automatically, because basically you're scraping it every day.
So you do it all the time?
Absolutely, yes. It's very intensive, and that's why the tokens are also very expensive. So it's getting by time cheaper as well, but we are running that in parallel, of course, because deploying new features, or we call them probes or attacks, is crucial to our business. Today you have social engineering, prompt engineering. Tomorrow you will have invisible characters. Then you have, for example, token limit exploitation. What some chatbot providers, they don't like if you consume a lot of their tokens. They limit the conversation to 30 characters or 50, but then you can still break it, right? And then it's expensive. So there is many attacks. I didn't mention them all, but actually what you need to do, and that's why we see it's continuous, no matter who does it, it's not like traditional pen testing. When you did traditional pen testing, you did it once or twice per year, right? You get a report from IBM, you run with it. No, in GenAI you need to do it continuously, because today your chatbot is doing text to text, In a month from now, the chatbot will do voice. Then you have multimodal, you will SMS, you can inject location, and in 3 years from now, the robot will have GenAI. Why need the Chinese 66 LLMs? Yeah. That's how we see it. Thank you.